Hey, good morning, folks. It's another great day to be in the USA. I'm getting my notes together because, stuff. Got to get stuff done. It's going to be another busy day and news day, a new news day. Man, oh man, was there news overnight? People leaking stuff and House Democrats being Democrats. So we'll get into all that today. Plus, we have a special guest, someone I'm on with on a regular basis on Newsmax, or Rob O'Neill, a Navy SEAL, the guy who shot bin Laden, which is a good thing. If you're going to be a SEAL, it's good to shoot terrorists, right? I think it's in the title, it's in the job, and so he'll be joining us for a discussion. It'll be fun. I mean, not that we're going to make fun of killing people. Well, maybe we will. Who knows? But someone who doesn't make fun of killing people is Chris Credeni. Good morning, Chris.
That's only because I'm not allowed to do that anymore, Tony. I was told. So I can't.
Not that we're murderers, right? We're not murderers. No, not us.
No, and I'm also not going to pull the Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel route by trying to encourage violence and destruction of other people's property. So I'm not going to do that as well. We don't do that sort of thing on our side, do we? In fact, what we will.
Well, I think it's interesting right now. Yeah, go ahead. Keep going. We're having some lag.
It's that see what happens, and it's not even jet lag. That's the worst of it all. But I prefer some jet lag. We're going to have some fun with Jasmine Crockett later on because I got to tell you, she thinks she's of the streets. I do want to talk a little about the Department of Education, and that's going to fall, but we do have something very important going on, and a crazy Fox analyst you're talking about here. So something that was a little weird when I watched it too. A little lag again. There we go.
Yeah. So, is Jasmine Crockett joining us today? No, I don't think so.
No, Jasmine Crockett has cotillion today.
I don't think
she's able to join us, right?
Can I tell you some inside baseball? So there's a network that I may work for, who one of the producers got on me for saying that Jasmine Crockett could have been a contestant on Flavor Flav's Flavor of Love.
Oh. Well, it could be worse. It could be she could have been a contestant on RuPaul's Drag Race, but that's another story for another day.
Well, who's to say she couldn't be? Just saying. I don't know. Anyway, if you go to my Twitter feed, I post something on her. We can talk about her in a bit if you want. Let's get back to Jack Keane. So I know Jack. So for those who watch us, and I'll be in the chat in a second, folks, to interact. So I know Jack Keane. He's a guy. By the way, he's in Fox News leadership. He's not just a talking head. He's part of the leadership team. Just let me make that very clear, that he's just not another Fox guy. He was. So one of the things that's going on right now that I think we can all agree upon: President Trump is trying to bring peace to both the Middle East and Ukraine. So Ukraine it's a bit of to use a British term, sticky wicket. Do you know what a sticky wicket is, Chris? Not that I want to distract the Patriots.
Is it like a rubber biscuit?
No, it's not like a rubber biscuit. Are you thinking about latex underwear again? No, it's not that.
No. That's one of those things where you
it's not that.
The wall.
No.
Right. And it ricochets back into your mouth. And as you know, if it don't bounce back.
No.
You go hungry. Bow.
Yeah, so that's not it. So anyway, for those who follow cricket, which I grew up in Lisbon, Portugal, and I went to the American school, the British school, St. Julian's was right down the road, and they play cricket. So sticky wicket, I don't know if you knew this, but when you play cricket, you got to throw the ball, and your job is to knock the wicket down. They have the things. If you watch, there's a great picture of Elton John on a cover of an album, all dressed up like a cricket player. Just, I don't know what he was doing with the cricket, just saying, but Elton being Elton. But anyway, so a sticky wicket is one that won't fall off. The objective of cricket is to knock the wicket off. Anyway, so Jack Keane seems to have a sticky wicket, I think, because he seems to be stuck in like the 1980s.
Hey, nothing wrong with that.
I love the 80s. I do. I mean, I miss the 80s. I miss Parachute Pants. I miss Miami Vice. I miss, oh my God. We have our friend Jack Hughes, Wang Chung. Everybody, Wang Chung tonight. He was making fun of that the other day himself.
I heard from our good friend Jenny, by the way, from the Bell Stars.
Yeah, Bell Stars. I love the Bell Stars. We have the guy from the Midnight Runners. Come on, Eileen, which
Kevin Rowland.
down that path this morning. I'm not saying this stuff to get people going. Just
He's got a new book coming out soon, by the way, a memoir.
We're going to have him on, right? Sometime, right?
Kevin Rowland. I'm not sure about Kevin Rowland. I think he stands a slightly. I believe he stands a bit different from where we stand at this point. I don't think they're.
But I welcome all voices on the show. Ed does too. Good morning, Ed. Our evil overlord has told me to welcome all voices. We need to be welcoming. Chris, are we not welcoming enough? How can we be more welcoming? Come on. Maybe the Patriots can tell us how can we be more welcoming.
Well, I'll tell you what. We can actually put together a decent round table of talented artists, where on both sides of the fence, and maybe we can find some common ground between us, them, and the Patriots. How about that? We can all work this out together. Because I'm not going to say we're all in this together, but I am going to say there are some things that both sides really would like to see, but they want to go about it different ways. One of them is, well, holding the government accountable. Apparently, the left doesn't really want that because Donald Trump's doing it. But if it wasn't Trump doing it, maybe some of them would be on board. Aside from Fetterman,
that is. Well, I think that's true, Chris. And I think it's important to recognize that here, I'm finally getting into the chat.
I have to get into that chat too. I only said one thing so far.
And I'm sincere about this. We're going to get to Jack Keane. Just keep your get on. We'll be there. I'm getting there. So yeah, I just want to get. I'm in. So
there we go.
Anyway, so I'm trying to. Good morning, all. I finally made. Anyway, so my point is that the 80s was great. I mean, and by the way, I would love to have, because many of the songs, I don't know if you knew this, Chris. You were what? You're like 20, 25 right now. You don't remember this stuff, do you?
No. I'm definitely 25 soon, and that's because I just look a lot older. That's the only problem. Like my doctor say, I have the health of the perfect health of a 71-year-old man.
But that's right. That's good. That's good. You and Dr. Smith are like ageless. It's like you guys never age. Anyway, I'm trying to get back to the 80s. Well, so to speak. Well, Jack Keane is stuck in the 80s apparently. But and boy, I'm geezing here. But remember, 99 Luft Balloons, 99 Nina. These right, a lot Nina. Of the songs. A lot of the songs back then were anti-war. Wouldn't it be nice? Kershaw, is that his name? Kershaw?
Nick Kershaw, wouldn't it be good?
Nick Kershaw, wouldn't it be good? I love that song. And so a lot of the kids back then were concerned about nuclear war, right? I mean, I thought we were all going to die. And I mean that, I do mean that. It's like, we're all going to die. Let's live it up. Let's party like it's 1999. Speaking of Prince.
That's how that Sting song Russians became a big hit. That was pretty somber.
That's right. It was somber, and I still love the lyrics of that. Anyway, we who lived through the 80s remember the 80s, and Jack Keane is going back to the 80s. He's like that wacky doctor in Back to the Future. He's like, apparently he's got like a what do you call those cars that you ride in to go back to the future?
DeLoreans.
What was it? DeLoreans. Hey, they're a group. They're a group too. Did you know there's a group called the DeLoreans that play 80s, an 80 tribute group?
There are a lot of bands like that with names that
offers hourly employees free skills training programs.
New York. So they all dress like the nerds from Revenge of the Nerds. Well, not the exact ones. They just dress like nerds and they do 80s music. It's kind of cool. I like that.
Unrest in Belarus over contesting to intervene. People. Chairman at the Institute for the Study of War,
We have that lag again, do we?
Yeah, here we go. So, we're finally back to Jack Keane. We've set the stage for Jack. So, what I wanted to get to is Jack now believes that it's 1985 and we're at the Fulda Gap, that the Russians are getting ready to jump over and invade Europe. So, let's go with Jack.
Is that the people believe, and many outside observers also believe, the election there was rigged. They're protesting in the street. They want Lukashenko, who's been president for 26 years, out. And now Lukashenko is calling on his old buddy Vladimir Putin to save the day. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, this is almost a replay of what took place in Ukraine and Crimea, where Yanukovych was a stooge of Putin's, and he fled as a result of the protests. And then Putin annexed Crimea, and also
he's talking about a coup d'état we orchestrated, by the way.
I think what we have here, we've got a dictator who changed the Constitution. He's been in power 26 years, so he could do that, similar to what Putin has done, where he's going to stay 16 more years in addition to the 20 that he's already been in power. So the stripes are pretty similar here. But this guy's worn out his welcome. He's corrupt, he's authoritarian, he's repressive. He blew the pandemic. He actually blamed the deaths of the people on the people themselves and was oblivious to the fact that older people may, in fact, get sick and die from it, took no precautionary measures. People fed up. They believe the election was fraudulent, as you said. So what's happening here is Putin has always, since the collapse of the Soviet Union, he took over in 2000, strategically, Trace, wants to increase the sphere of influence of Russia in the region, in Eastern Europe in particular, and also in the Middle East. This is part of the fabric of that story. So this really matters to him. And Belarus's location is very strategic to him. Long term, what he would want is military bases in Belarus to weaken NATO, weaken the transatlantic alliance.
And it matters to us as well, right? I mean, that's the whole idea here, is because we saw what happened in Ukraine.
Here's where it gets crazy, I think.
Question now.
Uh-oh. Something happened. Sometimes this.
Well, I guess we're not going to see the crazy part.
Yeah, the Fox page gets me sometimes. We're gonna have to. I'm going to rewind that and re-up that. There's an issue with the Fox page sometimes. So we'll get rid of the crazy part in just a moment. Okay.
So while we're talking about this, I want the Patriots to know. It's like, I'm not anti-UK. I'm not pro-Trump. I'm not pro-Putin. I'm pro-Trump. I'm pro-American. We need to be focused on what America's interests are. And there was a process by the Reagan folks, and full disclosure, you guys know this. I'm friends and mentors with the Reagan folks. Bud McFarlane, before his passed, the National Security Advisor, President Reagan and I were very close friends. He was a mentor. There is a process necessary to understand the Russian psychology and do things to limit its ability to do bad things. And I talked about this on Newsmax this morning. Jack Keane doesn't get that. And so you got the right part now with Jack?
I'm sure I have it. Yeah, sometimes Fox just kind of bumps the commercials in and changes pages.
Yeah. All right. Here we go.
Like Pompeo saying, look, this is, we need to see this play out without Russia's involvement here. How important is this to the United States, our perspective and our interests?
Well, that is the point. I mean, as he increases his sphere of influence in Eastern Europe, remember, so audience understand, the Eastern European countries were all annexed by Stalin post-World War II as a result of the spoils of victory. All of that went away when the Soviet Union collapsed. Most of those countries are now a part of NATO. Some are not. Belarus is one that is not. And what Putin has been trying to do is regain that sphere of influence with them. Why does he want that? The Russians always see Eastern Europe as a buffer against someone invading their country. The French.
This part is true. This part is true.
With you there.
The Germans were 30 miles from Moscow in the 20th century. That is imbued on them as the scars of national invasions. So yes, this is what this is about. And to accomplish that, why we should care is they want to weaken NATO as a result of that. They see NATO as a huge threat to their long-term security. But nobody in Europe is ever thinking about invading Russia. But you can't be dismissive of how Russia feels about their own security, their own national security, and how they look at the West as the antithesis of being able to maintain their own stability and security. Putin is a thug. Lukashenko is a thug. They have a lot in common.
Right about that.
And that's the question, because Lukashenko is now trying to build this narrative, General, saying, look, these are outside forces that are causing protests.
All right. So let's get into this a little bit. Let's get into this a little bit. So,
let's give him a Lukashenko background.
Yeah, Putin's a thug. He's their thug. He knows what he's doing. He's very effective. So let me point out
a little lag there.
Who's talking, Chris? I mean, go ahead if you want to take the lead here.
No, there was some lag. There was some lag. So I was listening to you. There was a little bit of lag. This lag issue.
Yeah, I know.
We have to take care of. Yes, but
so Lukashenko has every right to be who he is. They're all cut from the same cloth. Ukraine, Belarus, they're all former states of the Soviet Union. Does Putin want influence? Yeah, he does. Just like we want influence over Mexico. Chris, do we? Is Mexico a state of the United States? No, but we would never accept Russia bringing Warsaw Pact, bringing Mexico into the Warsaw Pact. Just saying. So, and I need to remind the audience, because Jack Keane seems to have forgotten. First off, in the 80s, when the Soviets were controlling Europe, there was no NATO at the end of World War II to stop Stalin from taking those nations. Stalin broke agreements with Roosevelt and Churchill and Truman. So it is what it is. And we didn't have the political will to push him back. Okay. Now, let me say something for the audience to understand. If there was ever a time Russia was going to strike NATO, it'd be now, because they're freaking weak. Because they've given up. Think about this. Just think about the insanity of what Jack Keane is saying. Oh, they're afraid of NATO. It's like, no, they're not. As a matter of fact, the Russians right now have a military-industrial complex economy that's outproducing NATO in the West by an order of magnitude. So, okay, Jack, if they're going to invade, why wouldn't they invade now while they have the advantage? Just saying. I mean, NATO is demilitarized, Chris. It's like, oh yeah. So okay, Jack. So that's not going to happen. And the other thing, he's a little bit older than me, not much. I hate to say. There's something called intelligence preparation of the battle space. And we're going to be talking about the leak later today. This leak thing that happened within the Trump administration with Mike Wallace and Goldberg, the New York Times guy. Let me be very clear on this. After a certain point, intelligence services can figure out what the other guy's doing, not by having necessarily great internal access to their communications, but by knowing nomenclature and doctrine. One of the things we could do, and I learned this as a freaking lieutenant back in 1984, once you understand what the Soviets have, you can take and figure out how they would put that on the battlefield and how it would move forward. You get little tactical reports of things all over the map, and then you figure out if you have this tank battalion doing X, that means there's a bigger, wider army behind it. And you can normally figure out by the unit, Chris, of what was going on. There's no indications that there are any tank armies mounting up on the border, getting ready to roll back like the Soviets did during World War II to go to Berlin. It's all a fiction. Atlantic guy, yeah. Thanks, Love Christ. It was Atlantic.
It was Atlantic.
Anyway,
yes.
Sorry about that. Anyway, we'll get to that.
Yeah, I have a question for
you.
All
right, go ahead.
All right, just as what you're saying. First off, a little bit of background on Lukashenko. Lukashenko was dead set against Putin putting missiles and troops into his borders.
That's correct. That's correct.
The latter portion of the 210s, the man did a perfect 180 and said, "Go ahead, do what you have to do." And after that, I guess he saw what happened to Crimea. I guess that. But now he also is under Putin's protection. Basically, they're both thugs.
Yeah.
Daddy Thug is now protecting Junior Thug. This is why he's doing everything Daddy Thug wants. Secondly, though, as far as this crazy idea of Russia invading Europe, because the U.S. and European Union weakened themselves energy-wise,
exactly,
the European Union is dependent.
Exactly.
U.S. Democrats made us dependent on foreign oil. Why would Russia want to destroy or invade some of its customers?
I know. Thank you. So I know. I mean, this is what I'm trying to explain to the folks here. Don't listen to the neocons. They are trying to prompt war. They are trying to get us into a war that we don't need. This is. Could we win? Yeah, we probably could. We go back to a war. It'll take years and millions and billions of dollars, but we don't need to do this. The Russians are not going to invade Germany. As a matter of fact, I don't think they want Germany. They want Germany's money, right, Chris? They want to have commerce, selling gas.
That's right. And why, again, you go in, you take over NATO, then what are you going to do? You're going to be running a bunch of countries which has already been overrun by illegal immigrants. Can't handle their own finances. And as you say, I believe they have a certain kind of dinner and they surrender like a certain kind of primate. Am I correct?
So remember, this is where Putin is a thug and he's a KGB guy, both true. But the other thing he's a smart guy. He learns things. He, as a KGB lieutenant colonel, recognized that the cost of occupation, remember, the Soviets occupied Eastern Europe, was too great a sacrifice of Russian blood and treasure to maintain. He saw the end of the Cold War. The Cold War ended because Russia could not continue to have its empire. The cost of dominating East Germany, Poland, Yugoslavia, Hungary, it cost them blood and treasure. They lost the war because of their own economic inefficiency. So do you all really think that Putin's going to do, let's try again. Let's just go occupy things and do the same thing? No. Yeah, he learned his lesson. So it's like, no, we're not going to see. I mean, go ahead, Chris. This is lunacy. This is just lunacy.
And you mentioned Poland. The hardest thing about running Poland, when it's from Putin's point of view, is taking all those troops and advisors and having to put all those light bulbs in because of the outages all the time and the trouble they have.
You'd be changing light bulbs for the next 100 years in Poland, so you don't want that.
That's right. And nobody wants to eat frogs on a regular basis or snails if they invade France, right? Yeah. Nobody wants that.
I mean, who would want the French? Think about it. I mean, the Germans. No, think about it. Historically, they took France like, oh, no, you can have half the country. We only want this part. You guys, you can Vichy France. Yeah, you guys go ahead. You know, those who don't bathe, go to the southern part of the country. We don't care.
Want the productive half. And I also want to mention one more thing. The far left is trying to set a narrative that Donald Trump in these peace negotiations, or I'm sorry, ceasefire negotiations between Ukraine and Russia, is trying to pull a Neville Chamberlain, which is not true. Neville Chamberlain, what he did was give Hitler land on his demand. And that's a sign of weakness. There was no war going on. There was nothing happening. And it was basically opening the door for Germany to take over because he knew the other side was weak. At this point, we're seeing a war that's just not winnable at this point for either side. And this is something that has to be settled. It's not a Neville Chamberlain give you land thing. It's we got to do something about this thing.
Yeah, so it's not appeasement. It's actually, I think you're all going to be surprised what comes out of this. It's going to be good for everybody. Trump is a win-win kind of guy. And I think there are, again, let me be clear on this because Jack Keane is literally taking history out of context for his own purposes. And again, I know Jack, shame on you, Jack, if you ever watch this, it's disingenuous and dishonest, and you're trying to get the United States committed to a war that we don't need to fight. There's nothing there. So I'm just asking the Patriots here, it's like, think for yourself. It's like, really? Are the Russians really going to invade Eastern Europe? Are they really going to go back to 1986? Do you think they're that focused on parachute pants that they want to go back and recreate all that? The 99 Luft balloons? I don't think so, Chris. I don't think that's the case. So anyway, thank you for this extended rant and going back to the future of the 80s. So there you go.
I have an issue today. We do have a guest that our guest has to postpone. Apparently, he's having trouble with a setup. Won't be able to make the conversation today. So we're going to keep going, but we do have a lot of material today. We're still talking about this, by the way. So there's a lot to discuss. Patriots, hold on to your hats. We'll have Robert O'Neill sometime in the next week or so. And tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see if we get Rob O'Neill on sometime. Yeah, see if you can get it back. I like Rob. Rob and I get along pretty well on there. We were on Carl Higby's show last week, as a matter of fact, talking about similar stuff. So
yeah, we're going to get him on. It's just that he couldn't. He's having trouble with the setup. And would you rather have the guy pop in and out and everything going wrong? We're going to have him on hopefully Monday, but we're going to work on that. We're rescheduling, so hold on to your noses. Tomorrow we're going to have Jared Knott, a guy that's been on with you before, and Nancy Quattro's Nancy Quattro Glass is joining us. Remember Jared Knott, who did a book a while back talking about the history's flubs. The mistakes of history. He's a second book, and we're going to talk about that too. That was fun. He was on with you on a past show, so I think we'll have a little fun with that. We have Nancy on, so we'll have a lot of fun with what's going on. But at this point, like you're saying, a lot of people are setting different narratives about this Russia-Ukraine conflict, and there's a lot of interest. Like you said, the neocons. The neocons' interest is not only to push war.
Speaking, we got to get Danny Davis on too. Reach out to Danny Davis. Danny, I was just listening. Danny is a good friend, so bring Danny on. So just so you know, I mean, this is another thing. I know this is a rant. I see it in the chat. It's kind of my, because this is something near and dear. I literally thought, Patriots, that I would die in a nuclear holocaust. I did as a lieutenant. It's like, yeah, it's all going to be over, but by 1988, we're all going to die. That's how bad things were during the Cold War. No, I'm serious. That's why I was such a wild child. Man, oh man, was I wild. I mean, some people know my stories from Dark Heart. There's a few in there. There's far worse. Just letting you know. I'm amazed I got elected to office based on some of the things I pulled, just saying. So, I mean, man, my eyes water at the memories. So, but my point, what's that, Chris?
We were in high school too, hiding under the desk and everything. No, that was the 50s, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
We all worried about it. We worried about that in the civilian level as well, and we didn't know anything like you did.
No, there was something called War Scare? I recommend people check it out. My friend Peter Vincent Price, who's passed, God rest his soul. I
think we have a little. There you go.
There we go.
War Scare.
I think so. I just want people to recognize. There we go. People can see it now.
I'm going to have a.
I want people to. There. Yeah. There we go. There we go. War Scare. So all right. So there was drama. Big time drama. We were on the brink. The Russians were ready to launch on us in 1983 because they thought we were going to launch on them. I'm just saying it was a very dangerous time. We don't want to go back to that time. We don't need to be going toe-to-toe with the Ruskies, to quote Major Khan, Major Cog. Was it? Oh, my God, I'm having a Major Kong from... No, Major Kong from Dr. Strangelove. Toe-to-toe with the Ruskies. So we don't want that, folks. We don't want potential nuclear holocaust. It's not a good idea. Chris, did you know that nuclear weapons can ruin your day? Did you know that?
I heard it give you like a bit of a suntan, if you will.
It's been more than I got from being outside yesterday. That's right.
Well, you mentioned the neocons a while back. I do want to harken back to something Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said. This is he was discussing this, and I don't remember where it was. It was on the campaign trail last year. He was talking about how the Ukraine war should end. We're wasting a lot of money. And he was talking to Mitch McConnell, and Mitch McConnell was telling him, well, the thing is, this money goes back to Americans because all the American advisors, the contractors over there, they get a lot of money. So the neocons also, now keep this in mind, every time they tell you something and they want to push this military force because they're lining their investment pockets with us. They invest heavily in the defense sector.
Exactly.
I'm speculating, but let's put it this way. They're pushing this. They're investing in the defense sector. And don't tell me these insider trading Democrats and Republicans in Congress too aren't doing the same thing.
No, that's why I do want to go on from this topic. We've been on this for half an hour, and I do appreciate everybody sticking with us because it's important to understand. But the F-35 is a perfect example of what you're talking about. The F-35 is not designed to win a war. It's designed to make sure that all that nice, sweet contractor money goes to all the districts in all the states. It is like a patchwork fighter designed to basically provide jobs and income for defense corporations and members of Congress to get jobs in their district. That's all it is. The F-35. What's that?
You want to talk, you were talking about the warplanes. You want to talk about a big bounce back from immense failure? Well, Boeing had to be bailed out by SpaceX when it came to the astronauts, but that very same year they got the big F-47 contract.
Yeah, I just think it's, we need to look deeper into all this stuff. So
yeah.
By the way, why don't they put Bill Shatner in orbit and just let him stay up there? He just turned 94. I think that'd be a good place for him to hang out, don't you think?
I don't know. He might be pretty cool up there. Besides, he can beat up anybody else out there. He beats up aliens. He could beat up
That's
other
true.
captains. He could beat up his rival from the academy. That man's good. He knows what he's doing.
All right. So while we're on this, I know we got to get to this other stuff. So, all right, Chris, who's your favorite Star Trek captain?
Okay.
No, don't answer yet. Let's ask the people and let's ask the Patriots. All right, so we're calling an audible here because we're talking about SpaceX, but Bill Shatner, Captain Kirk, he's talking about making a comeback. He's talking about putting the tunic back on again, which I think would be pretty cool. He's been hinting at it, which, as long as they don't do something woke, which I think we're past woke. We talked about snow woke yesterday a little bit, but who out of the constellation of Star Trek captains, from Archer to Janeway to Hawk, Captain Hawk, what's his name? Cisco. Right. I always think of Hawk because I loved Cisco, Spencer for Hire. He'll always be Hawk to me.
And yes, if
but Cisco,
asks, Pike counts too. By the way, Pike counts.
Pike, yeah, I guess for like a disabled captain, sure it does.
Well,
that's different.
They did flash back to when he was not disabled.
So yeah, you're right. All right, so Pike, Kirk, Picard, make it so #1. Anyway, so who's which? So you can. We got the people talking about it now. So who is your favorite captain? And remember, if you have the wrong answer, there will be repercussions. So go ahead.
That's right. Oh, so I have a little hierarchy there. You have Kirk, obviously. Kirk is #1 for every reason possible. #2 is Archer, because he was there before the Prime Directive. And that was cool too. #3 is Cisco because he punched Q. Everybody else falls by the wayside after that. There's a big gap.
I like Cisco. Like I said, I loved him as Hawk. Yeah,
and he punched Q out, which was pretty cool. Q, the second most powerful being in television history, live television history.
Yeah.
One behind Mr. Rourke, by the way. But having said that, that chick from Discovery probably doesn't count. I don't think anybody's going to put that one on. Let's see, what do we have?
I haven't seen Janeway's name show up at all in the chat. I'm looking. I don't think William Shatner is as woke as you think he is. I don't know if you all knew this. My publisher of Dark Heart published Bill Shatner and a couple of Pat, what's his name? Buchanan. So I don't think Bill Shatner would be in the same publishing house as Pat Buchanan and me if he was woke. Just saying. I don't know that.
He did have a hit album.
He did. Oh my God, do you have that?
I used to play it a
Lucy
lot
in the sky with diamonds. Wasn't that great?
People make fun of it, but to be honest with you, it's one of the best spoken word albums I've heard. And he did a great rendition of Mr. Tambourine Man. He's not supposed to sing. This is all.
I love that. That's great.
Right.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Transform Man is the name of the album.
Yeah, Shatner's not woke. I don't think Shatner's woke. He by the way, they tried to cut him because he didn't go along with the Picard bull. Oh, I can't say that, can I? Picard got woke, and they did a woke Picard, and he refused to go along with that. Just saying. So, and by the way, they cut him out. If you look back at the posters about 3 years ago, they were cutting him out because he wasn't playing the game. So I don't think he's woke because he said, "F y'all, I'm not playing." So just saying.
Wow. Again, Shatner. But by the way, Shatner, I never saw him as woke. He seems to be like, you know what? Throw whatever you want at me. I'm still Captain Kirk, and I'll still be able to get on television whenever I want, or I'll be able to get into movies whenever I want. Because darn well, people want him. He's one of those guys who transcends any of that, like Don Rickles would have done over the years. I don't think Don Rickles would have been
Shatner's
canceled.
not woke. I don't know where you guys are getting this woke stuff. If you look at his feed, he's not woke. He's pretty direct
he's
about
not
things.
woke.
So
Yeah, you might be confusing with Picard.
yeah, Picard is woke. Picard, Patrick Stewart. I think
Flash
Patrick
Gordon.
Stewart. Yeah, Flash Gordon.
Nice job, Denise. I like that, Flash Gordon.
Yeah, not
Rickles
Flesh
was the
Gordon,
best
not the porn version, right? Not Flesh Gordon. I hope
Yep.
not.
Hey,
So
Trixie says Rickles was the best. I agree with you. And keep in mind, you know what was funny? I actually saw an episode of Three's Company yesterday. This is a Don Rickles reference. An episode of Three Companies
All
yesterday
right.
with Peter Isaacson. You remember Peter Isaacson, the actor? He played.
I don't. Tell me about Peter.
You know him. He's the 6'7", 6'8" guy that played Seaman Pruitt on CPO Sharky. He did a lot of guest appearances on shows, but that was his best. It was his number
No,
one.
I never watched that show. I never watched that show.
CPO Sharky is the greatest show that was ever on television, in my opinion, that is. And I don't even use superlatives. I don't think that's professional. But in this case, it works. Anybody out there like CPO Sharky? Because we should bring that back. We couldn't ever have a woke CPO Sharky, I'll tell you that.
No, that's true. No, Don Rickles was the best. I always liked in my Facebook feed his Man of the Hour rants come up all the time, which are great. And just the other day, speaking of rants, he did one on Clint Eastwood. And as you know, I think one of my favorite movies, war movies, even though it has no relevance to actual war, but it has a lot of symbolism, is Kelly's Heroes, where Crap Game, CPO Sharky played Crap Game in Kelly's Heroes. I don't know if you knew that.
You know what? I actually heard about that. He was on a lot of movies, Don Rickles, sometimes in bit roles, and of course, a lot of times as the star. He did a bit role or a very small role in the beach movies, some of the beach movies with. You remember he played, I guess, the club owner or the bar or the owner where all the kids partied and everything. He introduced Stevie Wonder when he was 13. By the way, here is Peter Isaacson and Don Rickles, CPO Sharky. Rickles is standing on a step stool because he's so short, and his assistant was so tall. That was one of the big gags. Is Pruitt stand over him with his big, Chief, how you doing, Chief? And he'd be really annoyed. Having said that, we did get a request from the crowd, by the way. From our loving patriots, we did get a request, and that was something you posted earlier.
Oh yeah, so it's not. So we're not doing MacArthur's Park. So I always, by the way, I see someone mention. So for the Patriots, before we get to the ghetto here, Chris, who left a cake out in the rain? I just want to know, because I always ask our rock and roll friends, like, who left a cake out in the rain? I mean, who would do that? Right?
I don't know. I mean, I would not. I would have eaten the cake already. There's no way you leave cake out in the rain at any time.
So who leaves cakes out in the rain anyway? I don't know. All right, let's get to this, since I did post this earlier. So yes, let's move on to a woke. This is I don't know what is past woke. Is it ghetto? Is this like a spectrum? If you're like woke on the woke spectrum, which is like a mental disorder, once you get to the extreme, she's on a spectrum. Is the next step past woke ghetto? I'm asking for. I don't know. So let's roll the tape here. This is good.
Yeah, this woman is phony woke ghetto, and I'll get into that in a few moments. But here she is trying to be street jazzy from the block.
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. I think and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But like, it's Ted Cruz. I mean, like, this dude has to be knocked over the head like hard, right? Like, there is no niceties with him, like at all. Like you go clean off on him, right?
So she's threatening violence against
you, go girl,
senator. That's right. Yeah, you're a girl boss. Is that what is she? Is she a girl boss, yo? I think I got that right. Now,
so is that a real face, or is that like a mask? I mean, look at that. It's like it's got that House of Wax look to it. Vince. I expect Vincent Price to be in the background doing her makeup or something.
No, it's a fake ghetto trash Barbie. I think that's what it is. And I'm not saying everybody in ghetto is trash. I mean, that's not fair to say, but I think that's just a funny way to put it. But she is phony ghetto, if you will. Because here's what I believe: she is before she goes on set and on camera, she talks to her assistant like this. Brittany, I think it's time for me to go on camera. And don't forget to set an appointment because I have cotillion tonight. I need my
Yeah,
crisp pripped up.
cotillion.
Yes, she's
I do.
she's from a spoiled rich. She was spoiled. She went to private school. She's wealthy now. She is very privileged, and she is certainly as far from a cool ghetto. The way she pretends, or let's say appropriates this ghetto
Yeah.
culture, and she tries to be cool. She's far from it. So she's probably with that little accent. Oh, and we have to go back and have some crumpets after we do this interview.
That cotillion reference reminds me we have to do the story about a cotillion, Jim Acosta, and me. But it would take too long to go into today. And I'm not joking. It's a story about that, but I don't get. Let's go back to Miss Jasmine. She reminds me a bit. Did you see the eye thing? She's like Slow Eye Sally, also known as Rachel Zegler. Did you notice Rachel Zegler has that kind of wide eye, slow eye thing going? No, I'm serious. Slow Eye Sally. That's what we should call her from now on. Slow Eye Sally. It's like,
well,
it's kind of they kind of go like Marty Feld off in two different directions. So.
Well, Crockett's at least entertaining. Rachel Ziegler is absolutely irritating and annoying. She is horrible. But this woman, Crockett at least is funny to watch because we know she's phony.
Yeah. So, but I want to ask that question of the Patriots, and I see you're in there talking about her being a phony. I don't disagree with you, Chris. But again, I ask you and the Patriots, when you get to that woke level where you're recommending violence. And Ted Cruz, yeah, he could be annoying. I like Ted, but the idea that you got to beat him up, where does that come from? And is that ghetto or is that Clinton? Is that? I guess that's the question. Is it Clintonian or Gettonian?
Well, I'll tell you exactly where it comes from. It probably started at that point where her and Marjorie Taylor Greene had a nose out on the House floor or House committee last year. They were screaming at each other, and we all know that Marjorie Taylor Greene can beat up Jasmine Crockett. We all know that because she's tougher, she's smarter.
Well, maybe that's the answer,
right?
So you should see she's got. Well, see, no, but Jasmine, I think, has taken defensive measures against Marjorie. I think she's taken Kevlar and put a layer on her face and then put makeup on over the top. That's why she's got like a helmet face. Wasn't there like a character in Texas Chainsaw Massacre that had like a helmet face or something?
Leather face?
I don't know. Leather face. Well, it's kind of like that. It's kind of leathery. It's smooth. It's like a smooth, rich Corinthian leather. Speaking of Ricardo Montalban, it's a rich Corinthian leather face.
Oh, that's gotta hurt. Ouch.
Oh.
And did you see the drunken rant she posted on Facebook? Not Facebook.
No.
Whatever.
No, I missed
it's
it.
On Twitter. It's all over.
I
Twitter.
missed it.
Well, let's take a little piece out of that.
Let's look at that.
This woman is quite unhinged, and maybe unhinged is not the word for it because that's kind of reserved for the likes of Talib. And
like I said, the Corinthian leather face, rich Corinthian leather.
This is not unhinged. I believe this is all a perfect act, and even this drunken act it's all perfectly conceived by her acting coach.
In our country, they're running it straight into the ground because the idea that you would have a Signal chat, and yes, if you don't have Signal, you all should get Signal. So I'm not gonna hate on Signal. This is not a Signal hating.
I ain't gonna hate on Signal either. I'm not. We don't hate on stuff, do we, Tony?
No.
Message, but the
no, that's why.
Literally,
We should ask her to come on the show.
Why not?
Plan enemy attacks on a Signal chat, and then you don't even know who's in the Signal chat, and then y'all want to come at us and act like people of color are the problem or that women are the problem. Like, baby, you probably need a good Black woman in the room who can check you and tell you that, first of all, you shouldn't be doing this shit.
Okay. Now here's the thing with Jasmine Crockett. This is something you were alluding to earlier in this program. She was on this drunken rant.
I was
about the so-called story in the Atlantic, where so this reporter says he got.
We're going to talk about that next. That's the next thing on the agenda. It's coming up.
Yeah, I remember you brought that one up, and we do have. And so we're going to wait a little bit on that one. I will tell you this: I would take Jasmine Crockett and all her craziness and infantile rants over the absolutely certifiable Jamie Raskin. Did you hear what he tried to pull recently?
My finger? Did you try to pull my finger? No.
Well, let's hear Jamie.
What did he pull? What
Boys,
did he
Jamie,
pull?
put the do-rag back on.
They want to sweep in Panama. They want to bring in Greenland. They want to bring in Canada, where Elon Musk incidentally was a citizen after he left his native apartheid South Africa, and it shows. Why? Because they believe this new consortium will require a new constitution that will allow Elon Musk to run for president. My friends,
Did you hear that? This guy now is floating this conspiracy theory based on every false narrative he's trying to push that the Trump administration is trying to get Elon Musk to run for president. And by the way, the
No, I don't think so.
Yeah, he wasn't born here. It's not going to happen. And nobody's
it's not going to happen.
And he couldn't handle the demotion anyway. He's the richest guy in the world. Why would he be president? Right?
Yeah, he's like Tony Stark with a personality. Yeah, I get it.
The Democrats.
So remember, folks, the Democrats and the neocons, it's all about fear. It's all about fear. As JFK as FDR once said, there's nothing to fear but fear itself, which he was mostly wrong, but he got that right. But let's go on, because everything he says is a lie, pretty much. And by the way, I think Raskin needs to be investigated with all the other folks on the left who really have done grave and extensive damage to the Republic. He is one of those guys. He is, and this is not revenge. It's called accountability. And he needs to be held to account big time. All right. Speaking of, so he was on his rant, and Jasmine Crockett was talking about Signal. Yeah, I'm on Signal. I use Signal, but I think this is one of those things. We got to call out our own side here, Chris. This was stupid. This was a stupid amateur mistake. You don't put Jonah Goldberg of the freaking Atlantic. At least have something like a good publication, for God's sake. But somehow somebody effed up. No doubt. So, and I was talking about this on Newsmax. I think I'm on with John Bachman today at noon. I think I'm just going with John back and forth on Signal. No, that's a joke. We're not on Signal.
But people seem to think Signal. I get it. A lot of people speak only on Signal, and I know that because I use it on rare occasion with people that only speak there. They believe that it's all secured. True, but you still have to make sure that you're. Yeah, it is, but it's not.
Secure. Yeah,
none of them.
It's like it's like in transmission is secure, but obviously if you give someone the wrong number, they're going to be on a chat. Just saying. So there's two issues here that we need to break down a little bit. First off, who put him on there? Now, I don't hide the fact that I know some of these folks. I may correspond with them. I'm not saying I do or don't, maybe, but I'm just saying that we don't. This group chat thing, it bothers me. So this is not as bad as the left is making it out to be. This is not Hunter Biden selling his dad to the Ukrainians. This is not as bad as the top secret documents being in Joe Biden's garage next to his Corvette, and with his son having full access. And I said this on Newsmax this morning. Yeah, and I agree, Red Bull. I agree. But let me. I'm going to make a couple of stipulations here. So first off, I said this on Newsmax this morning. I'm a retired spy. We used to have meetings in public with assets who we were talking beyond top secret. So there's a point of like reality where you can't have the cone of silence. Remember that, Chris? The cone of silence. I recommend the cone of silence. Now, Max, you know that doesn't work. I insist, Chief. So you what's great
by that much.
I know. For those who didn't watch Get Smart, it was a great series, and Don Adams was great. Anyway, you don't have the cone of silence that you can bring out with you. So, and I would have talked about this with Rob O'Neill, because Rob and I served in some of the same units together, not at the same time, but I was attached to his SEAL team at one point, supporting him. Anyway, there's a point of diminishing returns about communication. So you need to talk and share information. Is Signal the right place to do that? Yeah, not for launching airstrikes, probably not. But I'm telling you this, that information in that chat, that's what I look for as a spy. I want that detailed, who said what to whom and how did they say it. That's important to me. The war plan stuff, yeah, we're attacking Yemen. Everybody knows that. It's like, yeah, we're going to kick their ass. We're going to kick the Houthis' ass. That's not something that the people didn't know. But this was a compromise. It's not as serious as the left. It's not as serious as Joe Biden or Susan Rice or Adam Schiff, who literally had top secret information. He manipulated it and lied about it. That guy ought to be in jail. Vindman, the Ukraine. I was on with David Harris Jr. last night talking about this. Vindman should be in jail. Vindman knowingly lied under oath. He had, and by the way, finally, all these people, security clearances, gone, which is the right answer. So anyway, I just wanted to bring it up, Chris. So I know that folks are chatting about this, but Jonah, to me, the bigger issue is who put Jonah Goldberg into the chat.
Right. That might be that would be somebody that needs to be investigated. Why was he there in the first place? Who did it? And that person should be held accountable. That's something you got to think. There's always that's why Donald Trump and Elon Musk. One of the reasons they're cleaning house as well. Besides the financial end, you got to get rid of the moles, the potential moles, the moles that ruined things back in between 2017 and 2020. Those are the people you got to get rid of because they're there to obstruct. They're not there to help move things in a proper direction. Now, some legislators, like this state rep from Colorado that I have to show you, this is fantastic. They instead of taking part in important discussions about policy, they use their computer coloring program. And take a look at this. This is what she.
Of this section, let's see, that section goes 4, 3.
Wow. That's like 3D chess for Democrats.
Yeah, exactly. I guess the adult coloring books were all used up by the time. But this is during
she's having a hard time finding. I know. Look at that. She's looking for chartreuse and fuchsia. She can't find them. It's frustrating. I gotta find chartreuse, damn it. Where's chartreuse?
Where's that burnt sienna? Carnation pink it is. Rainforest green.
Where did it go?
Where's seafoam blue?
Oh my. That's right. Where's fuchsia?
And yes, by the way,
fuchsia.
It was a Democrat. So yes, this is highly skilled gaming for the Democrats.
Yeah. Yeah, I color by numbers. Yeah. What state was that? State of confusion? What state was that?
Same thing. Colorado.
Colorado. Yeah.
The state rep.
Jared Moron is the governor there. He did that Dancy thing for illegal aliens.
Oh
man,
nice.
He did that one Tatamera. He sung like Christmas or something. One Tatamera. I don't know what it was. It was horrible. It was demeaning and racist, to use their word. So yeah, it was bad. So speaking of bad, I don't want to get off Democrats. I didn't mean to phrase it that way. I don't want to get off the topic. I want to get off the topic of Democrats. Did you know that a guy named Mayorkas is like naked today? Not naked clothing wise. They took a security detail. Did you know that, Chris?
Yes. As a matter of fact, another
they revoked Luther's security detail. It's terrible. Terrible.
What took him so long?
I guess he was trying to get to the Fortress of Solitude when they caught him. He was sneaking his way up there when they caught him. So
yeah, there we go. Or he was basically doing some wax afro sheen or whatever. I don't know. So he was waxing the old head for a little bit, but that's the idea.
Yeah, he and Jasmine Crockett go to the same leather treatment facility. So yeah, they
Corey Bush, or what was it? Ayanna Presley. That's the other one, right?
Did you say Furry Bush or Corey Bush? I don't know which is which.
Well, she's irrelevant now anyway, but you still have Ayanna Presley with the same haircut. The fact is, though, more of these.
You should be in jail. Yeah,
right, more of these potentially criminal and those treasonous Democrats are being taken off the security detail or losing their security detail one by one, saving a lot of money.
Well,
why?
Well, let me ask the question, because this is one of those things that sometimes stating the obvious is the best thing to do. Why do they have security details? Why do they have security? Or why did they? It's past tense. I think Trump has taken them away. Why is it? I'll tell you why. You don't have to. Don't. Okay. I'll just tell you.
Okay.
Because they project on us what they do. So these people are all paranoid because they think, oh, they're going to be attacked. No, nobody cares. I think Kash Patel cares, but it's not going to be right-wing patriots going to hit them. It's going to be DOJ arresting them. That's what's going to happen. So what they think, because what they do, they incite violence. Jasmine Crockett, the whole Elon Musk protest, the Tesla protest, the left, believe that violence is a protected form of speech, and it's not. So why would you need security details? Because we are violent and we need to be protected from violence, even though there's no violence going against them. That's why. This is another form of projection. They think they need to have details because they think our side is, and we're not. We're humorous. Boy, like that thing in the subways, wasn't that great? The MAGA guy with the hat. That's the perfect example.
But words
see, that's who we are. We will troll you.
But for Democrats, words hurt.
We will troll you. We don't attack you.
Hey, did you want to see the very tolerant, nice clip from the Bernie rally from a Bernie rally in Denver with all these nice, tolerant Democrats who never threatened violence against anybody?
I forgot about Captain Clueless and his simian ape. Yes, let's do this.
Beheaded Donald Trump. Are you calling for his death?
I am. Yes, I believe it's time that the people straight cut his fucking head off.
Mine says, if you want to know how fascism ends, ask Benito Mussolini.
They hung him, right?
Yep, they hung him by his feet from a lamppost. That's exactly what every fascist deserves. The only good fascist is a dead fascist.
Now are you
actually commie, but okay.
Calling for that to happen to our president right now?
I believe that the minute that Donald Trump decided to start ignoring judicial orders, he gave up the right to be the rightful president of the United States. He's an enemy of the nation. And yes, I'd like to see him hung by his feet by a lamppost.
He's pissed off because 7-Eleven.
So does he feel that way about Joe Biden? Because Biden was doing all sorts of ignoring judicial decisions. Was just saying.
No. He's mad because his mom's refrigerator and the local 7-Eleven ran out of Hot Pockets. He's just acting out right now.
Did his mom tell him he was a test tube baby? Maybe that's why he's upset. I don't know.
Really call for violence. Would you? Are you supporting violence?
I think there's the people in power. That's all they're going to listen to at this point. I feel like we've done the rallies, we've done all these things, and they don't listen. And that was something that finally got people to listen. So I personally don't. But if that's what we need to do for people to listen, then that's what we need to do.
Yeah. See,
hey, stop it right there for a second. If we can track her down, like Sweetie, looking like Greta Thunberg on acid is not a good look. Just saying.
No, it's not. Although I got to tell you, these other people with these masks on, they're afraid to stand behind what they're saying. That's why they're wearing those masks.
Of course.
The other reason they're wearing the masks is you see this creature here wearing a mask is because while you're locked up in your mother's basement for about 7 years straight and not really out that much, your skin will burn from any level of sun out there. So that's another reason they're protecting their faces.
Yeah, it's like he's like the Eloy and what's the other thing from Time Machine? Morlock. He's like a warlock. Yeah, yeah. That's right. That's what he is. So that's a great movie, by the way. Time Machine, the old one. So, great book too. Yeah. Well, boy, it's been a fast show, even though we didn't technically have any guests, but we made do. I appreciate the Patriots sticking with me through my rant on neocons. My message for the day on that: just say no to neocons, because neocons are not really conservatives. They're neo, and not the Neo from the Matrix. Just saying, right, Chris? They're different. They're not the same.
Nope. Yes, but we are red pilling people, so that's a good thing. And all of us out there.
That's right.
By the way, I want to thank you all for listening. And we don't say this; we should say this a lot more often.
Yeah.
Please hit the like button. Encourage others to rejoin us here because we want to bring people back and have fun with people here, and also bring some great information out there. Share the show on your social media. Have other people watch it because we have to spread this word. We have to spread some good things out there, and of course.
So we love you guys being here, and I want you all. Obviously, we love interacting with you, so we want to expand that a little bit. The other thing to remember, we like just a little. Can I say this? This is a public service announcement. We love the idea of blending culture, the past, music, and facts. Right, like topicality. Right. I always tell people we do topicality with a sense of humor. Right, Chris?
Right. Exactly.
And by the way, we're all older. Come on, the secret's out. We're all older. We love talking about, we love talking about the 80s, except, the nuclear part. Let's leave out the nuclear part. Jack, leave out the nukes. Let's,
Honestly,
give peace a chance.
But that was a big part of us growing up. I mean, we lived, and people even before us lived with the fear of a potential nuclear holocaust. And then we had war.
Yeah, we don't need to go back to that.
Even if we won a war, but a lot of our culture was based around it. The movies, the music, a lot of that was based around it.
Yeah. Just say yes to parachute pants, no to nuclear war. Right? That's our motto.
That would be nice.
So that's right. Wouldn't it be nice, as Nick Kershaw said? Right?
I think it was good. Right? The Beach Boys, or wouldn't it be nice? The Nick Kershaw.
That's right. Wouldn't it be good? Wouldn't it be good? Yeah.
Well, as
anyway,
Marshall Crenshaw would say, someday, some way.
That's right. Or one of my favorite artists was Falco, and I always loved all this Clar, Herr Kommissar. So that's a great song too.
Herr Kommissar, and he was the
original. And that was about the Cold War too. That's about the Cold War too.
Remake. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Falco died in 2000.
That was good too. That's the English version. I like the original Falco. Yeah.
Yeah.
Falco was chill. But I'm just saying, the 80s was great. Don't get me wrong, the 80s were great. But we love the 80s and culture. We don't like the 80s Cold War. That is our lesson for today, children. Right?
Thank you. I appreciate that. By the way, best clothes, best music, best president.
That's right. That's right. We got to go. Patriots, thank you for being here. You've been great. We appreciate you guys. Get the word out. Come and hang out with us from 9 to 10. And then we'll see you again tomorrow, right? Who's tomorrow? We got a guest tomorrow. You said earlier, right?
Jared Knott, the historian Jared Knott, and Nancy Quattro Glass. We're going to have a lot of fun tomorrow.
Nancy, good.
Yep.
We still got to get the Detroit Madman on too sometime. We've talked about that. So.
Yes, I'm going to work on that. What's going to have to happen with that, and we'll talk about that later on. But I'm working on that. And we're going to have that happen, and we're also working on some other great guests. Some new, some some have been on before, but we're going to keep this.
Yes. And yes, Red Bull, I go on Cinchfield. Grant and I are friends. I work for Newsmax, but my contract permits me to go on with people I have as friends. I don't generally go. Like last night, I pretended I was asleep when BBC texted me and wanted me to come on. It's like, yeah, I'm not coming on. All right, so the secret's out. All right, so BBC, when you see my text this morning, I ignored you. Sorry.
Well, it's plausible denial.
Just saying.
There we go. Yeah. Hey, it was late.
Yeah, like the secret's out. It's like, I didn't really miss the text.
Time disparity.
That's right. It was, So, that's what happened. Anyway, BBC. Yeah, I know. I agree, Red Bull. All right, we got to go. You've been great. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Thanks, folks.